And we start from the 5 Konogo Odumasi Senior High School students who were arrested for allegedly stabbing a Form 1 student, leading to his death. They are in court this morning, November 8. According to the Ghana Police Service, the suspects, who are Form 2 students of the said school, went on a bullying spree on the night of Friday, November 5, after prep hours leading to the attack on the deceased Samuna Larhan. The deceased, aged 17, was rushed to the Konogo Odumasi Government Hospital for treatment, but was pronounced dead on arrival. We'll take you live to the court for updates, but first let's bring you a recap of Saturday's incident. There's more in the following report.
So inside the school campus, this serves as a place where they sell food and other items for the students. And the misunderstanding that ensued started from here. This is where the student was stabbed, and so you can see the blood stains on the ground and over there. And this is where he slumped after being stabbed by the students.
So we came to the dormitory and we saw that the Form 3 students...
This student witnessed the incident.
They caught one Form 1 and they hold his shirt that he should remove the shirt for him. And the boy was saying that he would not do it. He was challenging the Form 2s. So they got angry and one removed the belt that he used to lash the Form 1 student. So I saw that Tupac, the one who was holding the knife, removed the knife and he used to choke Sabat. So we saw that he has fallen down here and the blood was flowing.
Police say the deceased, Samuna Larhan, was stabbed after preventing the suspect from slapping one of his colleagues. DSP Osei Edwajiman is Konogo District Police Commander.
The deceased, who was stabbed, was rushed to Konogo Odumasi Government Hospital. But unfortunately, on his arrival, the doctors pronounced him dead. In all, we have 5 suspects arrested.
Though calm has returned to the school, police say they intend to patrol the campus to maintain sanity.
We want to maintain patrol throughout the night, today, tomorrow, for 1 week, at least, to avert any such dangers.
Headmaster of the school, Dr. Benjamin Kwekuba, is pledging the school's support in police investigations.
I want to assure the public that the school will give its maximum support towards the investigation of the case.
Meanwhile, family of the deceased are seeking justice, but uncle of the slain Samuna Larhan, Abubakar Lamin, has this message for the suspect.
Where he has sent the boy, he will also definitely go there. Killing is not the solution of everything. Patience is the way to go.
4 second-year students have also been arrested to assist in investigations. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Konogo, Ashanti region.
Let's take you live now to the court, where my colleague Erastus Asaredonko reports that the judge has served notice that because the suspects are juveniles, the case will be heard in camera and counsel will brief the media afterwards. We're joined now by Erastus. What's the status of proceedings, Erastus, as of this morning?
Well, so you just said it right. The court is sitting in camera as we speak. The suspects were brought in about 30 minutes ago. The media was prevented from filming, even outside the court, their entry. And the commander himself approached us, indicating that because of their juvenile nature, they will not allow us to even film their exit from the court as well. Currently, as we speak, even the windows of the court have been shut as the case sits in camera. And so we are waiting outside the courtroom of the Konogo District Court, awaiting when the case is over. We've been promised that briefing will be done by the police or counsel for the accused person. But we saw them enter, 5 of them, with handcuffs, and they entered through the back door of the court and are currently before the court as we speak.
Right before I let go of you, Erastus, what was the mood? I mean, when you saw them, facial expressions and all. now that they are in court for this matter. What do the students look like?
So they came in an unmarked police vehicle, and their heads were bowed as they exited from the vehicle one by one, entering the courtroom through the back door. And what I catch the glimpse of, one was wearing a singlet, a white singlet. The other one in front was wearing a white shirt. And they followed in that order, entering the courtroom. So their heads were bowed, and they looked very sober as they entered the courtroom. We have quite a number of relatives of these students who have gathered outside the courtroom as well, waiting for the outcome of today's proceedings.
Do stay with us, Erastus, and let's just flow with this. Meanwhile, the stabbing to death of the SHS1 student has brought to the fore the need for a conversation on ending bullying in schools, particularly. Joining us is Mr. Edwin Sapon-Boache, who is the interim General Secretary of the Conference of Heads of Basic Schools. Thank you, sir, for the time. Thank you for joining the conversation. How exactly do we end bullying in schools? If you can hear me, sir, please unmute so we can hear exactly what you're saying. You're communicating with us. So we shall try to get the connection working with our resource person. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining the conversation. Hello. If you can hear me now.
Thank you, sir.
Great. So I was asking straight to the good morning to you, sir. How do we end bullying in our schools?
Good morning, sir. In fact, it's so pathetic when I heard this. And looking at bullying in our schools, we don't know how to end it, because these days, the students of these days are so radical and so harsh that you don't know how. A student holding a knife to stab somebody is so pathetic. So what we are talking about is, in fact, we don't know if they are coming from their homes. These problems are coming from their homes. We don't know. Because these are the students that we have built them from the JHS level. And when they are at the JHS level, they are not like that. They don't behave like that. But when they get to the secondary school, their lives change. So we don't know how they are doing and what is going on over there.
Is that to say that as far as...
drugs, I don't know if they...
Right. Is that to say that as far as you're concerned, the project to end bullying, I mean, that you don't really see the way forward when it comes to that? If these students just pick up these habits when they get into senior high school, how tricky is it going to be to find a solution to that?
I think at our level at the basic school, we need to advise our students, talk to them, try to counsel them, so that they will get that behavior at the basic level. So that when they get to the SS level, they will use that counseling and guidance that we give them to move on to the SS level. Right. I think that will also do. So it's a big challenge for the heads of the basic schools to do that for our students.
Thank you, Mr. Boache, for that submission.
That will also bring down those activities.
Right. Also joining us live on the subject is Bright Pierre. He is Executive Director of Child Rights International. Thank you, Mr. Pierre, for your time. Now, your first word on this sad development. What do you have to say? Can you hear me, Mr. Pierre? Please unmute. Please unmute so we can hear you, sir.
Okay, sorry for that.
Right.
I'm saying that it's unfortunate that we have to lose a life out of this. The life of every child matters to this country, and their development is what we should be concerned about. But it's unfortunate. But whatever it is, we also need to do diagnosis of the reality that we are confronted with, so that we can give a good training to our children.
It appears we have looked on for so long when it comes to this issue of bullying in schools. Why is that?
Well, it is so because we've not paid a critical attention to its outcomes or what it can potentially bring to us. And this, I'm saying, there's not only in the context of Ghana, but it's a global a problem that we all face. Because when you go to US, for instance, children who are bullied every year, if you look at the statistics, it cannot be compared to what we go through here. You go to France, you go to Germany, you go to UK. Bullying is a major issue that they are dealing with. It's a policy issue that they are trying ways and means to engage the clinical psychologists to find solutions to it and all that. So it's not just an ordinary situation that we can just place on the table and say that this is how we want to handle it. But it needs a lot of thinking. It needs a policy direction. It needs diagnosis for us to properly understand it, because the issue of bullying, if you compare to other countries, we can say that we have not gotten to a level where the outcome will be so scary. But whatever it is, once some of these activities are giving us outcomes, then we have to be worried about, because bullying itself is not what will kill people, but it is the outcome of it that results into this kind of thing. So for instance, if they've been able to cause harm to a child, then they have moved from bullying to what we call the corporal punishment. So what it means is that children are taking corporal punishment in their own hands and then unleashing it on their fellow colleagues. And this is very common, because if you look at what results in people acquiring behavior as a result of bullying, it is psychological. So until we tackle that aspect of it, engage our children through rehabilitation programs, it will be very difficult for us to deal with this issue on the surface, because it's a human behavior that we need to deal with.
In our context, Mr. Pierre, what specifically can be done? You have spoken about policies. What should go into some of those policies? Some have said that parenting should also, come into question. What sort of parenting is being given to some of these students in their homes? What is your take on that?
Yeah, I think that when you look at the triangle, when it comes to resolving some issues relating to bullying, you can't take the parent out of it. They are the first entry point into dealing with the issue. So the way and manner they handle children at home, the way and manner they conduct themselves in the presence of children is the first step in dealing with this particular issue. So we have always called for the state having a policy on parenting. We don't have one as we speak. Even advanced countries where children, we so believe that children have the right to do whatever they want to do. There are clear line policies on parenting, what parent can do, what a child can do, and then the outcome that the state expects that everybody will contribute to and all that. So parenting is very, very critical. We've made the environment so loose for parents to decide what they feel like. Any morning that they wake up, what they feel like doing to their children, that is what they do. So that makes that entry point very loose. So once the entry point is very loose, then you are causing a burden on our social safety net, because there are going to be a lot of children within that social safety net. And if you don't have the system to deal with it, then gradually you are breaking the social safety net. And when that happens, these are some of the outcomes that we'll see. So parenting is very key. And once even if you have the policy in place, there will still be fallout issues. There are people who, irrespective of what you do, they will still fall within the social safety net. And when they do, then the good news that we have to count on is that we'll have a few number of people that we can deal with within our social safety net. So within the social safety net itself, there should be programs. And the first program that I will say we should have to put in place is for us to have centers that will diagnose issues for our children. So when you go to the secondary school, for instance, we have to add value to the counseling unit that we have so that they can do proper diagnosis of children's social behavior. Then they can correct it as and when they showcase some of these. So system that we have to put in place for us to work with should be in place. Otherwise, this is not an issue that we can talk about. It's a psychological. So if you don't deal with the root causes, we will still talk about it and we'll still be getting the results.
Thank you, Mr. Pierre, for sharing your thoughts with us on this matter. Executive Director, Child Rights International. We also have Mr. Edwin Boakye still with us. Mr. Boakye, so what would be your chief takeaways, or what do you feel moving forward we ought to be doing to stem the tide of these happenings in our schools? Please unmute for us, Mr. Boakye.
I agree with my brother. I agree with my brother by talking about parenting. Parenting is also the problem. Now the parents have left everything to the teachers to do it for them. But those days, we're being advised in our homes. So when you are going to school, your parents will tell you whatever you want, you have to do. And when we get there, we listen to them, the advice that they will give us. So I think parenting is also another solution that we have to look at it. And as my brother said, look at bullying have turned to a certain level. By this time, going to the extent of using a knife. In fact, we need psychologists and guidance and counseling in our schools, especially with the basic schools. We are having a lot of problems because we don't have these people. So if we get those people at our end and counsel our students, especially the form 3 who are going to write the exams, when they are being counseled and so forth, they will get all those advices so that when they get to the secondary school, they wouldn't involve themselves into those activities. I think that will, when we start from that area, we can come to an end to this bullying.
Well, myriad proposals.
So
let's see.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, Mr. Boakye, there.